Hey there. Hello, hello.
Hey there, how there, all
So,
there.
hello, hello. So, first of all, James Apperson was on Captive Desk. And oh my God, I don't think I sent James a link yet. I got to send him one. He was going to come in after we get done talking about the stuff he doesn't care about, which is like when we talk about facts.
Yeah, anything to do with facts or science, yeah.
He hates facts, yeah. James hates facts. Anyway, so he was interviewed on Captive Desk, and he tells the very amusing story of his father, the Elvis impersonator, which is worth listening to. It's somewhat at the beginning. So
he had an Elvis encounter.
an Elvis encounter. What is Elvis's daughter's name? Is it
Priscilla? No. Lisa Marie. Didn't she just die?
I thought so. Yeah, one of them did. The mother or the daughter, I can't remember. But he was probably playing with Elvis's daughter, which is kind of cool. And didn't have any idea what kind of celebrity he was involved in, which is interesting.
Lisa Marie died on January 12th of this year.
Is that the daughter?
That's the daughter.
Well, how old was she?
It doesn't say here. Let me see if I can find some information.
Wikimedia. Anyway, I've linked a great many videos in my description, and I don't know if we're going to get to all of them or talk about all of them. But
I saw. I was like, "Are you going to be that?"
No, probably not. But those are the things that came up yesterday, and I do this as a public service to kind of gather together things that will, like, if we look back in time someday, we'll get some idea of what we were looking at that particular time, right? So, yeah, that's one really useful thing about a person who links all the current videos on a YouTube channel is that you can kind of look back in time. It's like your own time machine.
Yeah.
If you want to figure out where our heads were at back then, right? So
she was 54? Wow.
Oh my God, she was young. Holy shit. What did she die of?
Her heart was restarted after she was administered, but she died later. So she had a cardiac arrest in her home on January 12th.
I wonder if it was related to her father's cardiac arrest. Because
I don't know.
Yeah, they always wanted to imply that he died of drugs, but I think actually Elvis had heart problems. I think I read something about that they were sort of rewriting that particular piece of history. Every time a celebrity dies, you never assume that they may have a disease rather than drugs.
Yeah, funny how that is.
Yep. Yeah, people want to think the worst or something. I don't know, but dying of drugs, is just as much of a disease as anything else. The people that die of drugs are not healthy people. They died of a disease as much as just because they put it in their mouth seemingly with their own free will, which God gave them, doesn't mean that they actually had free will. If addicts had free will, they sure as hell wouldn't be drug addicts. That's for damn sure. And if an alcoholic had will over his own alcoholism, he certainly would. Nobody chooses to be an addict or a drug addict. You don't choose that. It's a disease or a bizarre disease, one in which you administer your own demise. And it's almost like those cordyceps fungi that attack insects and get them to hug a tree and they kill them, right? And they die. Yeah. So that's you want to look at drug addiction. And until we start looking at it that way in this country, we're probably not going to make a lot of strides in fixing the problem.
What do you think people
Anyway,
don't want to do that because they don't want to, I guess, offend the people who have to speak?
well, my experience with it is that they don't want to. They want to judge them as being somehow defective of willpower, or defective personalities,
Oh,
and
like
they don't think
it was their fault they chose to do it, kind of thing.
it's their fault they chose to do it. They deserve everything they get.
Okay.
And unfortunately, drug abuse in this country probably amounts to 80 or 90% of all the crimes that we have in this country. And
Remember, kids, don't do drugs.
Yeah, it costs
Yeah,
us-
apparently she had her drug problems too.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
can't find a real cause of death right now. I found an article that says the medical examiner's office did a deferred result, or a deferred cause of death, wanting more investigation, but it doesn't ever say what they finally said. What they finally determined.
Yep. So
Like
we got,
were there opioids and stuff like that in her system, or what?
so we have Captive Desk here. We have Or Willie. We have Bree from Hive Science, and I don't know who else listening right now. We have 5 people. And Spooky Bed Hair. Oh my God, he scared the hell out of me again.
He says apparently Elvis is still alive, and that's a fact.
Yeah,
that is.
Speed, if you need to go change your pants and underwear, we can talk while you go do that.
I already did. I already cleaned
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Okay, it's a good thing. This is potentially a audio only experience.
It is. It is a good thing. Yep. So
I'm sorry, you were about to say something serious, Andrew, and I just broke in with something.
Oh,
nonsense.
not necessarily.
So
Yeah.
I spotted this video by Dr. Becky, and I started listening to it. And unfortunately, I fell asleep, as I often do.
I
And I left it to you, Andrew, to watch this and tell us. Okay, so now what I got out of it is that we don't know what these galaxies consist of, and we assume that they have the ratio of stars that we have in current galaxies today. And she was saying, without that assumption, that this could account for the brightness of these galaxies, I think.
Well, with a different value for that. In other words, whatever, there's some sort of rate or some sort of proportion of different types of groups of massive stars, different different mass groups of stars.
Sums up, yeah.
Yeah, but you could potentially have had a different value for that grouping earlier on. So it's not like saying that the rate of decay was different at different times in the universe. It's just saying the groupings of stars was potentially different earlier on. And at that 300 million year mark or 600 million year mark, whatever.
Yeah.
So
First,
that's what I took out from it. That's the way I took it.
Well, like the galaxies they're talking about, specifically these 6 really massive ones, at least the mass that they say they have, right? Last time are about 500, 600 million years after the Big Bang, so not quite like the earliest stars in galaxies. I think it's like a redshift of this is kind of why astronomers typically speak of distance and time, or look back time in terms of just redshift, because it's just easier to communicate it that way instead of saying this and this many years after the Big Bang, or this and this years ago, and this many light years away, because what does it mean for it to be this many light years away now when constantly later and distances are increasing as spans? So
Yeah, and I thought I think it's worth playing the first few minutes of what she says here. So
Let
I
her
gotta
rip.
play the whole thing, right? You'd probably get copyright.
no,
That's a very long thing.
no, I'm having you summarize it for me. So
Scientists
Okay.
love it when something like this happens because we learn something new. And the big sort of latest mystery that everyone's been puzzling over is the fact that in JWST data, we found galaxies that are too big. They seem to have formed too many stars in too short of a time, quicker than what our best model of the universe says is possible. Now, you might have seen some people online and in the media making claims that this means that the Big Bang never happened, which is just plain wrong. The Big Bang Theory describes the past 13.8 billion years of the universe's entire evolution. So making a statement like the Big Bang never happened just doesn't even make any sense. What this result from JWST does mean is that there
thank you, Dr. Becky, for that. I think
Yeah.
that was wonderful. So,
It's kind of the same point as like saying, well, if hypothetically in the future we were to somehow, for some mysterious reason, discover that dinosaurs didn't actually exist or didn't evolve the way we think they did,
yeah,
or people crying out that whole evolution, that humans, for example, didn't evolve, like when those are two different scales here, and to make the comparison to cosmology, of course, the theory, like you said, describes the general story of how the universe changed and evolved over mostly how it was during its earliest stages, when it was, of course, really hot and very different scale from when the first stars and galaxies formed. Those are, I guess, not completely separate from one another, but like, yeah, it's I think, like I said, with the group compared to another, it's just they're not each other.
Did your dog just complain?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
wow.
He makes a funny
and
sound.
of course, Dr. Becky here is kind of the public face of science communication for physics anyway, but among others on the internet. But
Yeah.
but she just doesn't seem exactly shaking in her boots or upset that something's a little off with the lambda CMB model or whatever.
Well, the CDM. Yeah, well, that's
CD,
probably because she's
dark matter. Okay.
Yeah, because she's too rooted in the Big Bang religion. If you
Yeah, she's not exactly married to a cosmological model like certain
yeah, and that's the point that
are.
also needs to be made, that the Big Bang model isn't exactly the same thing as lambda, because you can have models of cosmology that aren't lambda CDM but still have a Big Bang event at the beginning, if you want to call it the beginning.
Yeah, so this is primarily to point out to Sal Cordova that he should probably watch this video and listen to her, what she actually says, because there's like, I think it was like on the edge of possibility is where these galaxies were. Like if we look at our current models and we plotted where these galaxies are on a chart of possibility, there was something out here where she showed a picture that it was like sort of out on the edge of possibility. You know what I'm talking about, Andrew?
Yeah, if they had the masses the original stuff claimed they had, or if they did turn out to be that cusp of what's physically possible according to model for how big these galaxies can get, because he explains in the video, isn't just about like just dark matter and dark energy, like it's on that of one to another, and how much budget of the universe, so to speak, is compared to normal matter. That's what the baryons means right there. You can predict how much clumping is. That's our basic picture of how these stars and galaxies formed. They formed from things that clump together over time in at progressively different size scales. That's why the cosmic web is kind of a fractal pattern, clumping in some areas and getting more and more empty in other places. Those are the cosmic void. Anyways, if you know those ratios and the amount one to another, basically, or the amount of dark matter to baryonic matter, for example, okay, given this much dark matter, much baryonic matter, which we think we have a good grasp on how much there is of each, should this clumping, like the rate of clumping, basically, and how big these clumps, like if you have a certain time scale, of course, amping at a certain rate, then naturally you're able to figure out how, and that's what's kind of showing here at a certain point based on the measured amounts of all this. If it's too massive, or it has too much baryons, basically, no, sorry, not too much baryons. It's having more stars than it can possibly make out of all the baryons that are getting that little area, basically what we would now call a galaxy.
Yeah, and the other important thing is the assumptions that are made about what happened shortly after the singularity. You know, at the beginning of the expansion, there's assumptions about what the nature of the distribution of matter was at that point, right? And they assume, I think, that it was sort of a random homogeneous grouping of matter, right? And that may not have been the case. There may be something else going on, because there's a lot of physics we don't know back then that could have led to a quicker clustering of data or of matter.
It's kind of be some different what are called non-Gaussian fluctuations that in some of this, but we have a pretty good grasp on how homogeneous and it was, because we can look at the CMB, for example, and see in total this many fluctuations of this particular size scale. This is what's called our spectrum, if anyone wants to look that up, and of this many of this size and of this size and so on and so forth. So we're not that clueless as far as what we think it should look like. I mean, there are the possibilities that it could be some unknown factor that we haven't taken into account, right? The nature of dark energy or dark matter, of course, because we don't know what those are, for example. So it's completely possible that it's more complex than we thought it was. But as far as the size of the fluctuations or how they're distributed, not so much.
Let's see. Okay. I don't know. We covered that. Hi, James.
Yeah.
Are you with us, James? We bored him to death. He died of boredom.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm here, guys. I'm here.
Okay.
We're about to call 911 for Michigan.
No, I have risen as foretold by the prophecy.
It's a miracle.
Yeah. Yep. So I want
like rodents astronomy pun there, or whatever you want, whatever you call it.
Yep. I got to step away for a minute, guys. You want to chat amongst yourselves or go further?
Sure.
And I'll be right back. Okay.
James, I really enjoyed your discussion with Captive Desk, Dave on his stream earlier today.
Yeah, I enjoy talking with Dave every opportunity I get. I suppose the only downside is I give so much away on my own channel, like in terms of my thoughts on every damn thing that
Yeah.
there's not necessarily a whole lot new under the sun.
Well, a
People
lot
are
of
like,
that I hadn't heard before, especially your experience with Elvis impersonation and your your encounter with the King.
"Oh, all right, I didn't realize you hadn't heard that. That's
Yeah,
awesome. I'm glad there was something new in there for you."
and so it sounds like you also most likely were able to like be playmates with Lisa Marie,
Lisa Marie, yeah, Lisa.
the recently departed Lisa Marie.
Yeah,
So sad.
right. And then I've actually spent time with her mom in the horse advocacy, the march against. I don't know if you guys know what Big Lick is, but it's a form of horse abuse. It's a show that they do where they would torture Tennessee walking horses to make them walk a certain way because it looks
Oh
extra.
no.
Yeah, because it looks extra fancy, and down in Tennessee, it's been a big thing. And so Lisa Marie Priscilla ended up joining the fight along with some other celebrities. And so I was able to spend time with her several years ago. But she didn't remember me, but I wasn't surprised that she didn't remember me. You know. Um,
Is she still alive, or did she pass away?
Oh,
Priscilla.
I think Priscilla's still alive, just not the daughter, right? If Priscilla died, I sure didn't hear about it.
Well, that's sad. You know, you don't want your kids to go ahead of you.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
But anyway, the encounter with the King. What's your stance on the Elvis is alive thing?
Elvis. Oh, the Elvis is alive thing. It's people say the same thing about Michael Jackson and Princess Diana, but not as often. And I think the part of the reason so many people thought they saw Elvis alive was because there's so many impersonators,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
and there's not as many impersonators for Michael Jackson, at least not ones that are credibly him.
And frankly, in the
So
70s and early 80s, there were still a lot of people with those weird, ugly, long sideburns.
yeah, pork
Yeah,
chop
and
sideburns. Yeah.
I think Prince is still alive too. So that was all a cover up.
Maybe they're all in some green room bunker out in the desert somewhere,
So
being held by the men in black.
yesterday they announced that Highway 5 through Chanhassen, Minnesota had been renamed the Prince Highway in his honor because that's where his studio is out there,
Oh.
out toward where my sons went to school and where we basically lived for a while. It's a gigantic studio, television studio and recording studio out in.
Wow.
Yeah, they renamed the highway the Prince Highway. So
Nice.
that man took that community and he gave so much money to them and built parks and all sorts of things. He did a lot of really good work out there.
Hey, Scott, did you see?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's from Nestle.
Who wants to join? Yeah, if you didn't see that already.
I didn't see that. Scott,
I can email them right now.
okay, so there's something else I wanted to mention, and that is, let's see. No, not that one. Where are we here? Oh, so Erica did a thing on Donnie.
Oh, yeah.
But she had nothing else to do about chromosome 2, and she did a really good job.
Yeah,
And there was only one part. There's one part that wasn't mentioned, and that is this right here. Hang on a second here, if I can get the right format showing.
I was wondering, why is he showing a picture of chromosome 2 as the thumbnail today? It must have something to do with the Donnie Erica thing.
Yeah, right. And you were right.
Okay, so now what you're looking at here is on top or on the bottom, that real long stretch of little colored amino acids is the DDX11 gene, which is located on chromosome 12 near the telomere, right? It's on the end of chromosome 12. It's in 12.12, I think, is the location, right? And that is an actual DDX11 gene or protein with all the amino acids colored differently. And that shows you, and inside of that, there are a whole bunch of different domains, right? That allow that protein to have to do what it does, and what it does is it has to do with cell division, right? DDX11. Now, what you're seeing on top, where the little bars kind of line up and they go to the top, the very top thing is the DDX11L2, which means that it is a pseudogene. And the reason they call it a pseudogene is because most of it isn't there. But that's what you'll find at the fusion site of chromosome 2 is you'll find a fragment of an existing gene that basically, I think that they kind of get tossed around to different places in primates. And that is Donnie's highly functional DDX11L2 gene. And you can see that it is not highly functional because it's only about 200 amino acids long. And the gene here is about 1,400 amino acids long. And nobody ever mentions that when Donnie says the highly functional DDX11L2 is right at the fusion site, right? So you need to go look at the goddamn proteins that it produces, and you can see that it is not big enough to be a functioning DDX11 gene. I wanted to point that out. So, and that's why I did the thumbnail the way I did it. And we have Nessie in the house.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Are we going to regret?
Right. So you're showing the DDX11L2 gene compared to like the family of the DDX11L.
Right.
Family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shows that it's a like an atypical gene of this family. Like usually the whole gene is much longer and it's only partially there.
Yeah, and it has these various structures that allow it to do what it does. They're called motifs in different domains, right? And there are about 8 of them in that DDX11 gene, and I don't think any of them are in DDX11L2 at all. Just the very end of the gene is there, so it's very unlikely that it does anything. Even though at some time in the future we could find some small function that it has, because that's the way these genes work. They duplicate and they end up in odd places, and at some time in the future or now there may be some bizarre functionality, but it is not or has not been shown yet, and we haven't found any function for that gene at all. So
it's also a red herring, because even if it is functional, it doesn't show it's not a fusion site anymore. Like they run on a false premise. They said like, oh, if this is functional, therefore no fusion site, which is a non sequitur. It doesn't follow from that.
Yeah, and there's one other thing to point out here is that there's a little bump that you see in the middle, and that's basically that first exon that's on the other side of the fusion site. Mm-hmm. And for that to happen, now that exon is not always transcribed, but sometimes it is, but it's a spurious transcription. And so it runs right across that fusion site, and it uses most of the fusion site becomes an intron, which gets spliced out. But it's very rare, and that's why the thing crosses the fusion site. But that little piece over there is, just a remnant from that just happens to match up a couple of amino acids in the rest of the protein.
Okay, I have an elementary size question real quick.
What's that?
When y'all are talking about function,
yep,
is that a real scientific term applied to genes and DNA and nucleotides and things, or are we just kind of conciliatory towards the young Earth creationist use of the word?
No, it's kind of, biologists will use the word functional. They'll say that your eyes are functional or whatever, but it's a very loose and undefined term. It's not. I mean, there's a whole lot of it. It's not a binary, functional or not functional. There are some things that have some small effect that may end up increasing the health of an organism or decreasing it one way or the other. But it's a gradient. There's no binary. It's all good or it's all bad, right?
Gotcha.
I think a more useful function would be could we lose it and not have an effect on our survival or whatever.
Yeah, if we didn't have it, and of course
it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, the creationists challenge us that would you have your DDX11L2 gene cut out? I would. At 72, I'd be willing to take that bet. So if anybody wants to run, do a DNA modification on old speed here, I'm willing to go ahead and try that because I got a feeling that, I'd probably feel, lighter if you took that gene out.
You also mentioned that there is an occasional transcript that goes beyond the first exon. And in this alternative transcript, like the fusion site becomes the intron, it's also curious to know that in the longer transcript, the additional exon is not part of the DDX11 family. Basically, it's it's just a different thing altogether.
Yeah, I just want to point out real quick. Nerdy did it again.
Oh no,
he did it again. Look at that.
Okay.
I love this joke.
A good one, Nerdy. That is a good one.
I just love it, and he's true to his name.
That is so apt.
I have just removed my hat and put it over my heart because of that joke.
Yeah. Anyway, you can go out on NCBI and you can look all this up, and they have the amino acid sequences for all of these things, and you can prove me wrong if you want. Donnie Deals. She calls him Donnie Deals. What is?
Used car salesman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was just so delightful, magically, just wonderfully delightful for her to listen to or show the clip of Donnie, talking about, and I don't know, it's pointing out something about the tags, the open and closing tag of the T telomere.
Yeah.
Being, I think the idea was that there wasn't much content, so that on chromosome level 2 or the chromosome 2 on humans, that you just have the opening and closing tag, but not all the filler information for a telomere. Was that correct?
I think they were talking about the centromeres.
Okay.
Donnie claims that you find remnant centromeres all over the genome.
But I just loved where she then showed the video where she totally told him the opposite of what he was saying.
Right.
And it was just so beautiful to, because she just directly owned him. And it was beautiful to see. The girl, the lady, the ma'am, the professional, I'm sorry. I just, she is so good, so detail oriented. She just point by point tore him down in the most spectacular way. She is the Mary Poppins of science.
Yes.
Because she tears down Donnie Deals in the most delightful ways.
Yeah, and she takes a lot of time explaining that she has basically a standing in poop problem, that she can't leave him alone, and she understands that she needs help.
Yeah.
And she points out that the first step is admitting that you have a problem, and she does. So I guess Standing for Truth is still going on about chromosome 2, and it's like he has been shot down so many times. And she points out something that he listens to Jeffrey Tompkins, who is one of these basically PhD people who that they believe just because they have credentials, right? And yet they won't believe all the other biologists who have credentials, but they have these creationists who are PhD scientists, former scientists, and they believe them no matter how stupid what they're hearing is. So they just can't get around it. I mean, these are their go-to heroes, right? These
Right.
are their cult leaders, and they have to listen to them in no matter how stupid what they're saying is. They could tell them to run in front of a bus, and they would run in front of a bus. And that's a really interesting phenomenon. Erica talks a little bit about that in the beginning. So drives
Right.
me crazy.
Yeah, but it kind of makes sense in a culture war, win or lose kind of mentality.
Yep. So yeah, I want to point out something. Yesterday did we stream yesterday? Or was it the day before?
I think we did yesterday. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was basically talking about Sabine Hassenfelder's video that she did on trans people. And I was defending Sabine as being, that she did a balanced video but there again, I was listening to the video, like I listened to it twice and I fell asleep both times. I tend to do that when I'm watching YouTube videos a lot. And I didn't see the unbalance in what she was saying. And then I watched, let's see, where is she here? Chromosome 2.
Rebecca Watson.
I watched another video by Rebecca Watson where she pointed out how biased Sabine Hassenfelder's video was. And I like Sabine Hassenfelder, and I love the science content that she does. And but when she did this video on trans surgery, she was definitely biased. And I've linked this one by Rebecca Watson. And Rebecca Watson sort of points out a few things that indicate that when people talk about this, people who haven't gone through it, who don't know about this, right? People like myself, we will not understand the bias that we're bringing to the discussion. So the point is that we need to shut the fuck up and support the people who do know what it's like to go through this sort of thing.
Yeah, the one thing that really impressed me about Rebecca Watson's analysis of that one study was there was a criticism that Sabina had made about how small the control group was, and and basically saying it's not a good study because the control group was too small. But what Sabina did was point out, well, here's a table where it lists the control group not just one time in one column, but like 3 times in 3 columns. And all that Sabina had apparently quoted from that study was the number of people in the control group at the end of the study. But what happened was this was a group of people who weren't receiving any care, but who were identified as trans, and they were going through all the depression and suicidal ideations and things like that, and you just couldn't keep them. It reaches a point where it is no longer ethical to keep them in the control group because they undergo a crisis. And so you had like 30 something start out. I think it was like 38 start out in the control group, but by the end of the study, a bunch had to bow out because they had to go into therapy, to go into crisis therapy because of the suicidal ideations and other problems.
Yep.
So they did have a good control group, but the problem is the consequences of not allowing people to go through all the therapies and interventions involved with trans care is so high. The danger is so high that look how long it took, or how quickly so many people reached a crisis point. That should tell you something. The control group is not healthy, and they need all those interventions.
Yeah, and the other thing at the beginning of Rebecca Watson's video, she talks about this. So Sabina was talking about there are two sides, and she said I'm in the middle, and the two sides are crazy. But what she did is she the other side she was talking about sounded really sane, and she was comparing that to crazy, and then she was picking a spot in the middle. So she was committing some sort of fallacy of balance, basically. That would be the equivalent of me saying that, well, some people think that Bill Gates is putting chips in the vaccine and they're crazy. And some other people think that vaccines are a really good idea if there are diseases and they're crazy. And it's like, wait a minute. The second thing you mentioned, they aren't crazy. That sounds perfectly sane, getting vaccinated for polio and diphtheria and all of that stuff, right? And Sabine did this without even missing a beat. And I don't think that Sabina knows how biased she is. And I will say that in her defense, because I don't.
There's another possibility too, is that she's given, maybe because of her schedule and things like that, maybe given over a lot of the responsibility for fact checking and analysis to writers and other people.
Right.
Maybe there's a staff that's just not fair and balanced, and Sabina didn't spend enough time. I'm not trying to rescue her. I'm just trying to figure out, how these things can happen when an otherwise good and reputable scientist abandons the kind of, even though that's not her field, abandons critical thinking at some point.
Right. And I will try to rescue any human being, basically, from harsh judgment by anybody. Everybody has to be given an opportunity to change or to be wrong. You can be horribly wrong and still not be a bad person. So let's fucking lighten up, everybody. Except for when it comes to this woman. Okay. This woman does a response to the response that Rebecca Watson did of Sabine's video. So this is a response to a response. And this woman apparently got beaten up at some trans rally because she was like, she did something basically to offend a bunch of people, and she ended up getting attacked.
Wait, hold on. Can you scroll down a bit in this video?
Let's see. Responding to so this is.
It's from over a year ago, right, or not?
Well, let's see. Was it a year? Oh my God, it was a year ago. So what the hell?
Okay, so this is another response to the recent video that Rebecca.
Okay, a recent video. Okay, but anyway, she pointed out this study and she said this proves that people that get surgery are living in regret, basically. And this is by a Johanna Olson Kennedy. And then I went down and looked at the table of the paper that she was pointing out. And of the people that did not get surgery, only one of them regretted. Basically, let's see. I forget where it is here. Let's see. I forget what the regret one was.
You mean the people that did get surgery?
The people that did get surgery, post-surgical patients, out of 68 people, basically, let's see, 57 of them like looking at their chest in the mirror, and basically, 7 out of 10 or 7 out of 68 on the non-surgical patients. But let's see, where was I get gendered as female because of my chest. Okay, one, dating, I forget what it is.
Is it dysphoria or dysphemia?
I'm not sure.
There's a thing called
dysphoria.
Chest dysphoria, yeah.
Dysphoria. Let's see. I have struggled to make future plans because of my chest. Only 1 out of the group post-surgical and 39 out of the group that didn't get surgery. So the first column is people that didn't get surgery. And they were asking what sorts of problems. And it's pretty clear that the people that didn't get surgery are having like a hell of a lot more problems than the people that did. And there's like one person out of the study that seems to always be saying that maybe they had some
Ow!
regrets. So anyway, so
Sorry, my dog stepped on me, and I'm barefoot, and so his little toenail went into my skin, and it hurt.
Ooh.
So
yeah.
but he's a good fella. He's a good little fella.
So anyway, this is an example of, I think, a paper that was being misrepresented again.
Yeah.
And again, it's because, there are biases.
Plus, Rebecca Watson, I'm never going to say she's perfect, but she does a really good job of breaking down and analyzing papers and statistics. She's been doing it for a long time. She did it with the crew there on Skeptic Guide to the Universe, and they are sticklers as well. And she was among them for such a long time. And of course, she did her own blogs and videos all that time as well. So she's an old pro with studies. So,
and the message I got from this is that I need to shut the fuck up until I know what I'm talking about, because I don't know the experience.
Well, that's an unfair thing, though, because if I shut up until I knew what I was talking about, I'd never say anything.
Yeah, I rarely know what I'm talking about. And I'm just so glad for all the people in the side chat and other places that just tolerate me.
Feel you.
Well, yep. Anyway, and I think that was about, I listed a whole lot of videos. There's Sabine Hassenfelder did a thing on marijuana, all the facts and numbers. I'm not sure what that one is. Greg Locke and Steven Anderson are feuding, and I love it.
I love it when those Christian wild men go after each other.
Yeah.
There's
that one. Let's see. So apparently, like both of these guys, Greg Locke and Steven Anderson, are really bad fucking people. And apparently they're feuding with each other over some nuance about how they condemn people. And so anyway, that one's in the description. I thought that was worth watching. So
Nessie, in case you haven't seen it, looks like Dussel Drace has come for you. He's holding you accountable for some readings.
Yep.
Same with you, Andrew.
I'm not sure what he's talking about. Like, when did he send me? When did he send me papers?
Uh-oh. Anyway, I just want to make sure you noticed that.
Oh, maybe he's joking. I don't know.
So here's another video on lion's mane mushrooms, and I don't know if people know what they are, but they're available in grocery stores. Unfortunately, I paid $45 a pound for them, and they look. They have like long white hair on them, sort of. They're not like your typical mushroom. They're actually very tasty. They're very tender, and apparently they grow brain cells. And they tested a bunch of compounds, and of course they tested them on brain cells in petri dishes, rat brain cells. But let's see, we're trying to find the graphs that they showed. But it was significant, and it looks like these things may be at least something that's worth eating if you're older. There was one test done by, here we go. So the control group is on the left here. Control group on the left, and that's how many dendrites they sent out. But then in the middle, and I think I forget what A6 is, but in the middle is the lion's mane neurons, and they shot out a whole bunch of dendrites. They started growing connections to other neurons. And one of the problems as you age is your hippocampus, particularly if you dry up and become a Republican, it quits. Did I say Republican? It quits growing new brain cells, and eventually you start to become forgetful. You start to become less coordinated, and a lot of other bad effects happen as you get from like 60 to 100 years old. you'll end up with this brain dysfunction that is called dementia, sometimes Alzheimer's, which is a little different, but it's typically called dementia. You'll start losing your brain function. It looks like lion's mane may be something worth trying to reverse that. And there's a whole lot of research on it that I've been looking at, and it looks pretty significant. So,
wow, awesome.
Yeah, I ate it for 4 days in a row, but then I at $45 a pound, so I'm trying to grow it myself, and I'm going to try going on it for about a year. And there's something called the TAP test, which you can take on your iPhone, that checks for coordination, and you can basically chart if you're degrading or improving. And people over 60 to 70 start losing the ability to run this TAP test as fast as you used to be able to. So, and they've done tests on Paul Stamets did tests on 123,000 people that signed up for this study, and basically, and I think he had control groups, and they found a significant increase, like 400% increase in the coordination on this TAP test for the subjects that used Paul Stamets's recommended microdose of psilocybin, B3, and lion's mane all together. So that's interesting. Thought I'd point. Yeah. Mushrooms, as it turns out, most of our pharmaceuticals, I think, were derived from fungi, basically.
Mhm.
I don't know if
I say fungi because it's much more funnier that way.
fungi. Say
Fungi.
fungi, yeah, fungi.
Fungi. Yeah.
Okay, Speed. I need to disclose here. I changed the title of the weather report today because somebody requested that their name not show up on it. So I called it the weather report with James, Nessie, and a shy guy.
Oh, I said a rational empiricist.
Well, apparently he doesn't want his name on there. I don't know. I don't know why. He claims we didn't. He's not ashamed of us, but I'm feeling pretty vulnerable, a little scratched up, right now. So
Okay, well, good. You changed the name for me, and also I had miscapitalized rational, so I'm glad you changed it. But we could have called it a rant with rational empiricists for the first half an hour, anyway. But let's see what else is going on. What else did I link on my little crazy thing? Okay. Physics Crackpots, a theory with, who's that one? That's with.
I like Dessel's theory about Andrew's reason.
What is it? Oh, he's running
for president and has to protect his image.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so her kennel name is A. Coleorastro. Let's see, she's right here.
About something about who's colon?
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
A. Collier.
Yeah.
Astro.
Yeah, A. Collier Astro. Anyway, she's an
Is
Astro.
Is she out of Houston? Don't we have the Astros in Houston, or did they move somewhere else?
I don't think it's those Astros. I think she's an astrophysicist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and anyway, she does a lot of stuff on physics crackpots, and basically has a pretty good channel, and I linked her video. So she has some very entertaining videos. String theory lied to us. The concept of mass, the adjunct problem, human robots belong in the trash.
Yeah, her name is Angela Collier, so A. Collier, okay. And then Astro. That makes sense.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, A. Collier Astro. And she has some creative playlists on science and a whole bunch of other things. She is worth putting on your radar if you have not subscribed to her. So, and I guess I've subscribed to her on my personal account, but I'm going to give her my answers in atheism too. So, she's a good subscriber. Anyway, she's wonderful. I like her too. It's kind of like Dr. Becky. and does really good delivery.
Yeah.
Yep. Can we build an artificial hippocampus? Okay, that's a pretty detailed video about AI and copying what the structure of our brain in order to develop artificial intelligences that can navigate. That was pretty good. That one's in my description. And here's one that you might like. So what do you think of Michael Levin, Nestle?
Who?
Michael Levine, I think his name is.
Is he that really
let's see,
conservative?
Oh yeah.
No, that's not the
or
guy
is it-
I'm thinking about. I thought you were talking about.
Yeah, now I remember. Yeah, that he's a good biophysics guy.
Right.
Yeah, he's not the guy I thought it
Works
was
with,
at all.
with flatworms. Yes.
Yeah, so Lex Friedman interviews him, and his mind is on fire. This guy, he's hard to keep up with. You almost have to slow the video down in order to keep up with what he's talking about and all the concepts he's talking about. Anyway, they took frog, like embryonic skin cells from a frog, and put them in a petri dish, and they formed their own organism, and they started reproducing and doing things that were somewhat intelligent in a petri dish, basically, but just the skin cells. And he's explaining that, the DNA, we have the DNA, which is going to create a certain structure in a cell, but it is the environment of the cell combined with the DNA of the cell that determines what happens. And they have these xenobots, they call them, where they created like this new life form by just isolating skin cells from the embryo of frogs and letting them decide what they wanted to be. And so he talks about how the cell sort of decides what it wants to be. And the other thing he's talking about is how, like for, I think it's newts and some other things that can regenerate limbs, that basically there's an intelligence in, like a patterned intelligence, that they will rearrange themselves until they become what they're supposed to be. So it's almost like it's almost teleological, but it isn't really. It's all just the combination of complex physics that determines what an animal's limb is going to turn out to look like. And genetics has a lot to do with it, but it's much more than genetics when you get into embryology. And it's really, really interesting. And it also allows you to envision how evolution happened. So it's really a good video, worth watching. I think it's 3 hours long. But I like, Michael Levine's all. I'm sure that some people think he's a bit of a crackpot, but he's on the bleeding edge of a lot of really good research, and he's worth watching. So, yep. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, I think people like are really neat because like it's a very common concept and also a very common phrase even used by most researchers that the genome is like a blueprint of the body plan.
Yeah,
basically, and that cells are like and that body plans strictly are dictated by the blueprint that's present in the genome. But of course, genes are involved in the process. So I'm denying that. It's just that the way the body develops during embryonic development is very, very
not like a blueprint,
non-straightforward like that. Yeah, it's an emergent process that involves many different factors.
And Daniel Nicholson, the philosopher of biology, makes a really big point of that it's also, not like a blueprint, not like a machine. It's a very different kind of world. And the thing is, we only have one example of that kind of complexity in physics, and that is life on Earth. That's the only example we have of this. And so
there are a few parallels where you see similar processes. For example, one example I often use is when you see like a mud drying up, and it dries up, it contracts, but then you see fractures becoming in the mud, and those fractures often form like hexagonal shapes, a bit similar to those. And a similar process basically happens also with crocodile skin, like the skin. And you see these cracks in the crocodile's face. So those are not like encoded by genes or caused by genes. They are just fractures that when the animal grows.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's certain liquids that you can boil or bring to a temperature, and they'll start to coalesce into these structures. I forget what those are called exactly, but it's a thing in physics where they'll form these little cells, and they just do it because of a phase transition. Mm-hmm. And so there are purely non-carbon examples of this kind of structure forming out of randomness, basically complexity, which is pretty interesting.
I'm sorry.
Oh, shut up, Siri. I don't really want to talk to you right now. We're fighting again.
Guys, I want to show you the quality of our side chat people. This is just kind of a quick little question between two people in the side chat. How familiar are you with fluvial versus Aeolian cross-bedding angles by any chance? What other side chats have this kind of interaction going on?
Right. Exactly.
We got an amazing group of people that frequent the place.
I mean, my people just say hi, and why am I here? It's all good.
So James, you went a little dark on me in the last couple of days. So.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. I disappear off the grid sometimes, and then I just pop up again.
Yep. Yeah, and you popped up again. I was surprised to see you on Dave's channel because I was already like starting to mourn your death because I thought for sure he hasn't fucking answered the phone for 2 days. He's got to be
now. Who's going dark?
Right. So,
I just thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead because I was going to change the subject.
Oh, well, so was I.
Well, go ahead.
All righty.
Go ahead and
change yeah. So I did have a good conversation today with Dave. I really like that Dave guy. He's pretty cool. Yeah. And I don't even like beer, and I still want to have a beer with him.
Yep. I linked that discussion at the top of my description, or right near the top of my description. I think second one down. So everybody should go watch that.
He wanted me to sing some Elvis at the end of it, and my throat just doesn't feel good enough to sing today.
Oh,
so.
he must have broke his heart. He was planning on getting.
I know. I just couldn't.
We need to go to his house and pop open some beer and comfort him for that loss.
So I went out and got the mail today, and I got a letter from Reasons to Believe, which is Fuzzrana's endeavor. And on the outside of the envelope, it says, "I hit rock bottom and God was waiting for me, Caleb." And so I opened this envelope up, and the first thing I found was, I'll help reach struggling Christians and skeptics with the truth. Yes, Fuzz, I want to help RTV research and create resources that will share the scientific evidence of God and his plan for us. I'm enclosing my gift of $25, $35, or $50, or more than that on the bottom if I check this other box, and I would like to become a monthly partner. And on the
How
inside,
the hell did you get?
Huh?
Go ahead.
Oh, I signed up to all their mailing lists. I get all this shit. Caleb shares, a few years ago, I lost my faith. I deconstructed it. This year, I hit rock bottom, and God was there waiting for me. One of the things that brought me back to faith was seeking out the sources of material that could keep me looking toward Jesus. One of those was Reasons to Believe. And Colby writes, before discovering RTV, I put God on the back burner. I was still a believer, but trying to do things my way. Science was a scary gray zone, especially in a generation where many people try to use science to refute Christianity. To this day, I listen and watch everything I can get my hands on, like the podcast Stars, Cells, and God, and Straight Thinking. Since finding RTB, I've been working every day to put God at the pinnacle of my life.
Wow.
Yeah, so check the box, man. So how much should I give them? What do you think? Should I donate? Should I sign up for? I can pledge a certain amount every month here. I would like to become a monthly partner at blank dollars per month on the blank day of every month. How about that shit?
Wow.
And please, yeah. And they have an envelope, and I don't even have to fucking pay postage on it. I don't think. I think postage is paid. Let me see.
Wow.
Let's check that out. Nope. I have to put a fucking stamp on it. Are you fucking kidding me?
That is so 20th century. Do they have like a money raising manual from 1978?
Yeah, what the fuck? I mean, really, this is just ridiculous here. What the hell? I wonder if I can look at this. Look, fucking place postage here. I'll be fucked. I'm not doing that. I was all set to donate until I figured out
they had their chance. They are
had
really
their
screwed
chance.
up.
Yeah. Oh my God. Imelda gives thanks. I thank God because of you. I'm so blessed. Even in Indonesia, I can watch your YouTube channel, have all the information about science, which makes my faith stronger. Thank you so much. God bless you and your people.
Good luck with that. Well, I guess it does make her faith stronger. It's just not science she's getting.
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh.
Grayson. Oh my God. Grayson is still debating David McQueen. Jesus Christ. Grayson. There are certain people like Grayson and Mark Reed that always go on those channels and keep debating those people over and over and over again. And I guess, I don't know.
I think Steve Ballman talks about David McQueen a bit. And if he hasn't, it sounds like he's moving his channel closer more to YEC debunking. So he may talk about David Queen's bullshit more in the future.
Yep. Yeah, he did Dr. Joel Duff did a really good thing on fossil footprints. I think today or yesterday, I think it was. Yeah. And I wonder if
he's been really productive putting stuff out. So it's a good channel.
Let's see. Did I put that in my description? Damn it, I didn't. How about that? I should have had that. I think I put it in my description yesterday, the fossil footprint thing. So
yes, Andrew Cumming. I think your Y is in pointing that out, and here I am showing it. So, Fuzzron, I think he is one of the. I think it was he put on a higher tier of young Earth creationists?
I think he's old Earth creationist.
Old Earth.
Right?
Yeah, I think he's well liked by our science specializing counter apologists. So
he's high tier for sure. Everybody has a tier list for everything nowadays.
Here's a little comment from Andrew again about Steve Ballman.
Yeah.
And he's already done a really excellent critique of what certain creationists have said about the uranium lead dating. Inside what are those little crystal things called that get
zircon crystals?
Zircon, that's right, zircon crystals. In fact, I wish I had. Well, I just thought about it, so I guess but it's a cool thing. Go to Steve Ballman's channel and look at a few of the last 5 or 6 videos. They're awesome.
Yeah, Dr. Fuzzrana can be more reasonable than most. We had him on the channel. He's a really nice guy, and it is possible to talk to him, but he's still a young Earth creationist, and for some reason, I don't know why. We had a talk about a year ago, I think. was on, and he wanted to come back. Actually, I should have him back on and beat him up a little.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. Yep.
So, you still stupid?
There you go. Yep. So what else we got? What else is happening in the world out there?
I don't know. Let me think.
It's Friday night, right? So I haven't checked my phone to see who else is streaming. I'm sure Gur is streaming because he saw me streaming. So, of course, he'll go start a fucking stream. It's just the way he rolls. Yeah. Oh, Standing for Truth, the great debate. Marian Dogmas, Dr. Robert Sungenis, and Steve Christie. So he's doing like one of his religion things, right? I think he did a debunk thing on Rebecca on Chromosome 2 right after she did her video. I think that was on its creation site or something. So, oh my God. Athena, God, the goddess of wisdom, is also went live 48 minutes ago.
Yeah, I don't care.
And then we have Pocket Locker. Of course, he's live. Why the historicity of Jesus is nonsensical. Jay Bundy.
Apparently, Bree wants in, so I'm going to send a link real quick. So don't end the show yet.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think Jay Bundy has been doing some pretty good videos lately. I've been watching a few of them. He's got some.
Wait, does Bree want to be in, or?
Yeah. I think so. Does Bree want to be in? Let Bree in. We'll let Bree in.
Yeah, she said let Bree in.
Let Bree in. Yeah, so I don't know. I got nothing else to say. I need to shut the fuck up.
Okay, Bree, watch your email and come on in, lady.
So we're going to see Nicolas Cage's movie we're gonna watch it on Sunday night.
You mean the Dracula one?
Are y'all going to a theater, or are you just going to watch it at home?
We're going to watch it at my son Dustin's place. We have movie night on Sunday night. That should be interesting. I love Nick Cage. I will watch anything that Nick Cage is in. I don't care how bad it is. And some of them are so bad that you end up just hitting yourself afterwards. Like, why did I watch that? Why did I watch that? and it's really interesting because Nick Cage, when he's in a really bad movie, he doesn't even try. He just goes there and gets his paycheck. And it's really interesting. But when he's in a really good movie, he does really well, I think.
I think he's producing this one. I was under that impression, so hopefully he will go in there and try.
Yeah. I think
apparently he really wants to play Dracula at least once. It seems then.
Yeah, he said when he first saw the script,
he made the movie happen.
When he first got the script, he was like, "Nope, I'm not doing this." It's like Nick Cage turning down a movie. That's impossible. And then he got into it and he realized that he wanted to do it. So he got into it really well. But it looks like it's going to be fun. That's cool. That'll be neat. Oh my God. We have thunderstorms.
We've got thunderstorms here too.
And we have Bree. We also have Bree.
Am I here?
All right. Finally, she joins us.
Hey, you're here.
Sorry, I had to refresh my email like 100 times. Well, you send the stuff to one email, and Speed sends stuff to the other email, and I just
yeah.
Confuse you, right?
Yeah, you're all like pulling a fast one on me, and
no, I can't talk too much until you talk.
James, you might want to mute. We can hear their personal conversation.
1 second.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how have you been this week, Bree? How have you been?
Well, I did have a bit of a time. I will tell you, Monday was a rough day. Yeah,
really
trying to figure out if I was in the right timeline or not. It took a long time for that to.
So that kind of blew blew you away. Did you find any?
Well,
any
the problem was I went to sleep. I went to sleep before it really kicked in, so most of it was hypnopompic,
stuff?
right? So yeah. But there was a lot of weird stuff, man. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't know why someone would do that recreationally. I am a little bit, not, I don't want to say traumatized. I am emotionally wounded by the experiences, though. I feel like those wounds are gaping, and were gaping on Monday, and now they're mostly closed. I'm still a little bit leery that I'm gonna wake up in a different timeline or something.
Thanks for joining us, James.
Oh, did James have to bounce?
Yeah, family stuff.
Hope I didn't scare him away.
So
I don't think he's scared of you.
Okay,
I'm terrifying though.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, you can be, because you've got all that gravitas with your bug and your
I do have a
cryptid thing going on, and everything.
I do have a scorpion within reach though, so I'm not completely harmless.
But I think he just wanted to hang out with his kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Speed, you want to just watch a couple minutes of the spider video that I made for Arn, and then we can drop the link and everybody go out and watch it after we're done?
Yeah, send it to me.
Yeah. How should I do it in the private chat here?
Private chat.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I'm not used to this restream quite yet. I'll get used to it over time. But I'm used to StreamYards, and then Maya uses a different one. She really likes it, though. It's kind of like this. It looks like this more so than StreamYard. I know you don't like how bright StreamYard is, but I don't use StreamYard for anything I do. I just use it for video capture when I can use this too. I just have to readjust all my screens. You like this one better? Is the function more user-friendly?
Yeah, the biggest reason I chose this is because it isn't all white, and it doesn't whiten out my face if I'm on camera. And StreamYard can't change the theme. And on this one, you have a choice of themes. So
yeah, check this out. Watch my face. Watch my face when I go into StreamYard. Nothing. Know why?
Why?
Because I got just you turn your browser on dark mode. If you use Chrome has dark mode now.
Really? And it'll so StreamYard comes out black. Okay, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not black, it's kind of a dark gray, but it's not too bad. It's better than the white. It's about the same darkness of this, except for without the blue, it's just gray.
Yeah.
I don't know if you pay for it or whatever, if the settings are different, that might be a thing. But
I was paying a lot of money for StreamYard. They got me before they reduced their price, I think, and they were charging me like $50 a month. So
yeah,
it was a lot.
So yeah, but I do have a new scorpion. I had him out the other day, and I was going to come in here. But I was only had a few minutes because I was on my lunch break, so I didn't. It was a couple days ago. When was the last time you did a weather report? I think it was the last one you did. Unless you're back to doing them every day.
No, I did one yesterday and today, and now I'm certainly not going to get on a schedule. I'm not into schedules anymore. So
yeah.
I was gonna say that my experience with the psychedelic therapy is that it tears me to shreds for 2 hours and like totally to pieces, and I never get what I think I'm gonna get. It just rips me apart, and then for the next week, I kind of have the option of putting myself together in the way that I want to put myself together. And if you understand that you do have that option of reassembling yourself, but first of all, you do understand that you're going to get ripped to pieces, and you are in charge of putting those pieces back together the way that you want. And that's been my experience with it over and over again. So,
you're an entomologist, right? Or is it a hobby of yours? Or?
Yeah, the bugs. I'm a glorified insect farmer, and that's what I am.
All right.
Mostly just
Is
just breed them.
is it exclusively insect, but also other arthropods? Or
All arthropods. Actually, I focus more on arachnids, at least here in the last few years. I have. I started off with really heavy into mantises, though. I actually got a huge shipment of mantises on the way. They're going to be it's half Carolina, half Chinese mantises. But I found a place I like, and they sell bulk for like $39. I was able to get 12 of each species. So we'll see how it turns out.
Okay, so I roll this.
Yeah, let's watch.
When I did my series on the evolution of snakes, I included a reference to Semitic mythology, wherein the very first of all serpents angered the Jewish god, Jehovah, who then took away the serpent's legs, saying that it and all its future descendants were cursed to crawl on their bellies from then on. So there you have the
little lizard human
where all the
thing,
different serpent families we have now evolved.
Are you talking?
Like the first image he showed of this little humanoid lizard,
humanoid snake guy.
Yeah, that is cursed, absolutely cursed.
Cursed, yeah. Cursed image.
All from the one common ancestor, the original serpent in the garden. And now that we're talking about the evolution of spiders, I should reference another similar and equally silly origin story in Greek mythology, which says that the maiden Arachne was so good at weaving fabric that it made the goddess Athena jealous. So Athena cursed Arachne, turning her into the first spider, so that she and all her future descendants would continue to weave their silk, just not with human hands. Such are the tales folks tell when they don't know any better and they just want to be entertained by hidden messages and supposed morals and sacred fables they made up. Of course, now we know that snakes are a group of highly specialized lizards without legs.
Okay, can you pause for a moment?
Spiders are a group of highly...
He mentioned like one Greek mythology, and the Greek mythologies are often very weird. Like, do you know what the Greek mythology origin is of the
Cyclops?
Our galaxy? Do you know?
No, go ahead.
Like it says that like the man named Hercules, or as it's originally named Heracles. Heracles is the son of the goddess Hera, and it says that when Hercules suckled on the milk from Hera, he suckled so hard that the milk splattered all over the place, and that is how the Milky Way was born. And that's why we name it the Milky Way. That's actually why we call it the Milky Way.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, I like it.
What an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
I never knew that, so that was a new piece of information for my brain.
Yeah, and that's also why we name every galaxy galaxy. It's from the word galactic, like lactose. It's the same names from lactic milk.
Wow, the etymology of these words, you're blowing my mind.
And that's why aliens will never understand our language.
Yeah, really, yeah, true.
It's funny because then we named our candy bars after the galaxies. So,
right.
Yeah, full circle. Because you make those with milk.
I love a Milky Way bar. I could make myself sick on eating so many of those.
They don't have them very many places in the U.S.
You want to summarize this video for us, Bree? Or
he's talking about the evolution of spiders, and we did a whole series from early arthropod. Basically, you know how he did the systematic classification of life series, where he wind us down through the evolutionary path to humans. These are basically new series that he's doing that are branches off of it. The first one he did on snakes, the snake branch of that tree of life. And then this one he did on spiders. So we walked all the way down the spiders tree of life from early arthropods when they first split off from us, and then on down to modern spiders. Yeah. If you want a little excerpt from it, there is, if you just hop towards, let me see, I got it up here too on my screen. About between 17 and 18 minutes, just somewhere along those lines. He gives us list. He does a list of all the spiders. It's kind of funny.
Did you help making this video of Arwa?
Yeah.
Hey, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna roll it here at
All right.
1712. Yeah,
Sure.
let's go. Let me go back just a little bit here.
The Goliath bird-eating spider.
Oh my God.
The earliest known
I
fossils of
love
both
them.
of
They're
these
so
groups are
cute.
from the Triassic period, as early as 240 million years
I
ago.
want to pet it.
There are three major categories of living spiders, and these first two primitive ones represent only a tiny percentage of what remains. There is more diversity in the third and most derived or advanced group,
Yeah, this is where it
Arachnomorpha,
goes.
than in these first two groups combined. This illustration is a composite of a handful of collective molecular phylogenetic studies. Let's run through it for this last, but definitely not the least group of spiders. The most primitive, or rather generalized of these, is the lampshade spiders and crevice spiders, and coponiids that may have only 2 eyes, which is weird for an arthropod, or they could have 4, 6, or 8 eyes. And then we have woodlouse spiders and tube dwellers, the infamous reclusive fiddle spider, and hundreds of species of spitting spiders that spit poisonous silk out of their mouths, just like that kaiju that fought Godzilla. How weird is that? Then we have coneweb spiders and several hundred species of cellar spiders.
Can you pause for a moment?
And velvet spiders.
Like these spitting spiders, do they spit out a unique kind of silk, or is it the same proteins that they also produce out of their rear ends?
It's the same proteins, just
really?
co-opted to a different portion of the body, and actually
Yeah.
envenomated. I believe in some species.
Wow.
I'll have to look into more details on that to see what proteins the venoms would be, though. But I think that would make a unique. Just the fact that they spit their venom is wild, right? I mean,
yeah.
How many
Putting on
species
some-
of spiders have we identified?
he gets there in this list right here, but
Too many.
it's not comprehensive though. We're not anywhere close to comprehensive on spiders, you
Yeah.
know.
As cool as spiders are, they are really understudied. Still,
Mhm.
even.
So
Yeah.
PZ is really into spiders, and he catches them
Mhm.
here in Minnesota. He goes out on spider canvassing trips every summer and goes into people's garages and collects species. PZ Myers.
Yeah, I was actually I had one of his peers on my stream last night. It skipped a Caven stream I was co-hosting on. But Greg Ladden,
Okay.
I don't remember. Yeah, but he works there
I
too.
now. I actually now. Sorry.
Go ahead, Ness. I'm sorry.
I sometimes do it interrupt, but I don't want to interrupt. So I'm sorry, but I randomly remember that I did a show and tell when I was in grade class, however you call it in English. Show and tell on spiders. I now suddenly remember that from a long time ago.
Yeah. I did one on black snakes. Well, on snakes in general, but the black snake was the one I had in my collection because I used to just collect anything and everything I could catch outside. Yeah, this is part of it's only a couple minutes long. Speed.
Okay. If I had done show and tell when I was a kid, I probably would have brought a cow.
I brought lots of toads and stuff for show and tell, but I did a report on the snakes.
There was actually I got help from my parents, and they knew somebody who was working with a how do you call it, a place where they have spiders, lizards, and snakes and such, like a whole mini zoo basically, but all behind glass, so something like that. And they got for my show and tell, they got a mold from a spider. For my presentation, so I showed them not the actual spider itself, but the mold left behind from the spider. It was really neat.
Yeah, the cellar spiders are so prone. It's not a cordyceps. I can't remember the name of it. It's a different group of funguses that target specifically that clade. But when you go into a basement, you can tell instantly when there's been an infestation of that stuff because there's little white puff balls with legs all over the place. Have you ever been in a cellar and ran into that?
Wow. No.
If I find one, I'll take. It happens all the time here, or in a crawl space or garage, any place where it's moist enough that they would benefit from it. I'll take some pictures next time I see some.
And you should send me a clone of the mycelium, and I could probably grow it. So that would be interesting, because I think some cordyceps you can grow without an actual insect. Basically, there are other ways to grow it.
I wonder how it would affect Spider-Man, though. That's the big question, right?
Knock him down, yeah. Grow out of his head, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna roll.
Thousands of species of cobweb spiders, like the black widow, brown widow, red widow, and Australian redback. Then we have tiny orb weavers and even pirate spiders who draw other spiders out of their webs and ambush them. Then we have long-jawed orb weavers, scaffold spiders, Pimoa spiders, sheet web spiders, and giant orb weavers. I had a 3-inch long orb weaver living on my back porch for a few months.
It's beautiful.
I had such a crappy camera back then because she was gorgeous, and I enjoyed seeing her out there every day. A Jurassic fossil of a similar species in the same family is the largest fossil spider ever discovered. However, you might be surprised to know that it's not as big as some of the golden orb weavers are today. So you can throw out everything you were told in movies and on TV about giant prehistoric spiders. They had giant scorpions, that's true. But the spiders then were similar to what we have now, at least the ones that we found so far. Although a jungle environment doesn't often preserve fossils, so it's possible and even probable that there could have been something bigger way back when. Then we have a collection of smaller ornate orb weavers. At this time, think of Charlotte's Web. And there is also a subfamily that don't spin webs.
I often see those in my backyard.
These
little, yeah.
Then we've got disc web spiders, hackled orb weavers, ogre-faced spiders that catch their food in nets, and 3-toed hackle mesh weavers and mesh web spiders, as well as the diving bell spider that uses its silk to create a scuba tank so that it can live underwater. Then
Hell yeah!
Wheat spiders, grass and hobo spiders, intertidal spiders, dusty desert spiders, and adorable jumping spiders, as well as ghost spiders, ground spiders, sacks.
Okay, any spider that jumps is fucking not adorable. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, jumping spiders are the cutest little animals in the whole world. Aww.
Nope.
Oh,
have you seen Lucas the spider? Lucas the spider.
Huh.
Oh.
Mine are so babies.
Spiders, pretty crab spiders, lynx spiders, and wandering spiders. Fun fact, the venom of the wandering spider can cure erectile dysfunction. It can also kill you. And then we got nursery web spiders, as well as fishing spiders, the ones that run on water, and of course wolf spiders. And what's this? Pisoridae and part? The article explains that this is a paraphyletic grouping, but it's really polyphyletic, neither of which should happen in taxonomy anymore. In this case, it's where a single name was given to a collection.
That's good, though. We'll stop right there. Watch the whole thing, though. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now. We did a whole video. Before we even get here, we talk about the more primitive clades, which are my bread and butter, with the tarantulas and funnel web spiders, ancient spiders with tails and fossils and stuff like that. We get into the older stuff. Really cool on the evolution part. There's a whole series to this, so go check it out if you got time.
And it is linked in my description, along with a whole lot of other videos that you should check out. So,
all right.
Awesome. There's also one interesting fact that I know about, like the Sydney funnel web spider in Australia. It's for most mammals, it's not for most vertebrates, it's not really dangerous, except for one group. It's primates, even though there are no native primates in Australia, which is a really weird coincidence.
Yes, but the closest relatives to the funnel web spiders are found in South Africa. So like old Gondwana land, back when, but the tarantulas in Africa are more their venom is more potent towards primates as well, because of all the animals that live there that will eat them. Our monkeys don't care about. Monkeys aren't scared of spiders like we are. The spiders are food.
So it's like a defense mechanism against primates.
Yeah.
Right.
But as far as I know, Sydney funnel web would have had to split off in the Triassic, right? That's the last time those.
Oh yeah, that's a problem, perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but when they were closer together, rafting for an arthropod is like nothing, especially something that can make a web to hold.
Did the Sydney funnel web spider rafted from Africa to Australia fairly recently, perhaps?
That's a long journey, but they are tube web spiders, right? So they make the tube that's waterproof. I mean, it's evolved to be waterproof because it's in the topsoil layer of water, right?
Insect spiders can make pretty long journeys. Like there are spiders on Hawaii even. So yeah, it's
people always bring home bananas and stuff and like, oh my gosh, there's a scorpion or spider in there. For arthropods, it's a lot easier for them to live long periods of time with no food as long as they aren't really active. They can just sit still and live for sometimes months, or even in some species years. I read a story in the tarantula blog that I was part of years ago. This person had a tarantula, right? And he had it in the vivarium, and he walked in there one day and it was laying on its back. He was young guy. He's like, oh man, it died. So he put it into the stuff, and didn't like kind of forgot about it or whatever. Put it in some of the vivarium got put in the attic for a couple of years, and they went up there and the tarantula was like alive and well. Wow. And it had molted, which is why it was on its back. But it was years later that they went up there to find it doing just fine in the attic. It was a brachypelma, which do really well in temperate zones, though. So, and they live really long too. The females can live upwards of 40 years. So they go for long periods of fasting because they're from a desert region. They're from like northern and central Mexico. So they like a dry climate, and they have to be able to live if sometimes it doesn't rain for a couple of years, if they have a really dry spring. So yeah, they don't get a lot of water. But the tube web spiders, like we're talking about, the Sydney funnel web spiders, when they seal those up, like it's like a sock with plastic lining. They don't have the glue on their webs like you see with other web building spiders, right? They're not making adhesive to catch insects. They're making sealant to seal their web. And that's in the proteins of the web itself. It's like laced into them. They do have different types of webs that they can put up at the surface level that are like little tripwires. Most tarantulas do, though. Like every vivarium I have, you can't always see it, but there's a thin carpet of web basically covering the whole bottom area. Oh, did we lose Scott?
Yeah, Scott.
He left.
So my cat was watching that video, and he was staring at the spiders, and he was very fascinated with it. So I think he hit the like button.
This is why you don't get me talking, because I will go on and on. How long have I just been rambling about freaking stupid spiders facts, and you all just didn't even stop me?
No worries.
I've been trying to find spiders, but they're a little hard to find sometimes. But I've got to try a little harder this year for my.
What kind of spiders are you looking for? Maybe I can help.
Any kind of spider. I just want to see spiders.
You look through. If you look through leaf litter, you're going to find wolf spiders. Maybe some isopod hunting spiders. The big long wicked fangs they're red. And they have huge.
We've got a lot of wolf spiders out in the valley. Out here.
Yeah. Well, you up in your area, if you go any place where there's because you're like a short hike from the river, aren't you?
Yeah. About
there should be fishing spiders all over. And fishing spiders are the biggest spiders in the U.S.
Really?
Me and PZ were talking about all the fishing spiders that you guys have up there in the land of 1,000 lakes.
Really? In the Minnesota River, I could probably find them. Wow.
Yeah. Don't go out on the river looking like the billabongs along the side.
That's where we walk almost every day, is along the Minnesota River.
If there's mosquitoes in the area, it's good. Like if the mosquitoes are thick, it's a good habitat for fishing spiders.
Mosquitoes are very thick. Yes.
Yeah. I figure it's along doesn't that feed into the Mississippi at some point, and then
yeah, it does. Just a couple miles from here, like about 3 miles east of here, it goes into Mississippi.
So
And
you
right
could
now,
probably just hop on a kayak and float down here to me, right?
Yeah, I could. Well, that would be a hell of a trip.
Yeah. Make sure you hydrate.
But right
I-
now the river is completely flooded, and I'm calling it Lake Minnesota because I can see it right below my house here. It basically goes all the way from the Minnesota River up to the bottom of the valley here, and it's pretty incredible walking down there.
I'm also the type of person who, like, if I find a spider in my own house or in my own room, I won't kill it. I will just leave it be because I know, I know it eats like other insects and also especially mosquitoes because I hate mosquitoes and I rather have spiders in my house who eat the mosquitoes.
Jumping spiders are really good at mosquitoes. So
Mhm.
when those mosquitoes lay into rest, the jumping spiders are on it.
I actually saw a jumping spider like setting itself up to jump an orb weaver. So I saw it jump on the orb weaver in live action. It was really really starting to see.
I had somebody it's been a couple months ago was telling me that they had a jumping spider that they had that lived around their windowsill, and then one day they saw a brown recluse there, and they never saw the jumping spider again, so they just assumed the brown recluse had taken it out. But brown recluses are jumping spider food. Just because brown recluses have a venom that's more dangerous to us, they are nowhere near the athletes that jumping spiders are. I mean, they spring their legs like that. They're locked. They're kind of like gears that they jump with, right? And they can use those can be locked to grapple too. So there's brown recluses that stand a chance against the jumping spider. They're just food to them. The chelicera of the jumping spider are massive compared to the brown recluses, tiny little.
Can they also bite us? But like jumping spiders don't bite humans, right? Or very often.
No, they can bite you, but it's like an adorable thing. It's not. It's not anything that will hurt you.
So we've got these huge spiders here that live in the wood. Like if you bring in wood, and they jump about 3 feet. Is that a wolf spider?
I hope so.
They're gigantic.
That might be the fishing spiders that I was talking about. Dolmedes.
Yeah, they're scary as hell.
You ever look at Dolmedes? Dolmedes is the biggest spiders in North America, the biggest true spiders.
Okay. Dolmedes?
Dolmedes. That's a Greek word, right? What does that mean? Somebody here tell me, because Ness knows all the Greek words. Come on.
No, I don't know all the Greek
you're so smart, though. I love that the people I hang out with on here are so brilliant. It's like I found my people. You know, you sit here and talk about smart, nerdy stuff together.
So how do you spell that?
Dollomedes. So it's Dolomedes.
Dolomedes.
Dollo Medes. In Dolomite. Yeah, there you go. Medes. Medes. Dolomite.
I end up with dolomite. Dolomite.
That's a kind of stone, yeah. Isn't it?
That's a kind of rock.
Yeah.
Dolomite. But I can't. Okay, how do you spell it again?
Dollo. M as in Mary. E. D as in David. E. S as in Samson. Dolomite. Yeah, there you go. There it is. Fishing spider. You just turned back to Dolomite again.
I put it in the private chat. I think you can see it, right?
Oh, Dolomedes with a D.
Dolo.
Yeah, let's try that one. Oh, there we go. Now we got them.
They look like wolf.
Cool?
They look like wolf.
They do
spiders,
look a lot like wolf spiders. Yeah, they do. They're closely related, and they have. But these guys run on water. They can go underwater, but they aren't the ones that do the fishing spider thing. So they won't stay underwater for long. Just scoot under there and grab something. I think
the spider in the spider in Harry Potter, like Aragog, is also modeled after wolf spiders, I think.
Mm-hmm. He looks like a wolf spider too.
Yeah.
Where they have the two little eyes in the very front bottom that look like nostrils.
Okay, so the Dolomites is derived from the Greek word whatever means deceitful,
Yeah. Okay.
wily and deceitful. So there are over 100 species of Dolomites throughout the world. Let's see, four stream in New Zealand, raft spider. They live in bogs in Europe. Cool. So we have them in Minnesota.
Yeah, we have them in Minnesota.
Oh, we got to find those, Bree. We got to find some of those. Anyway, yeah, maybe you can come up this summer and teach me how to find spiders.
Yeah, Dolomites tenebrosus is the one that we have here. They're the ones we have here too. I think they're the only big species of Dolomites that live up this far north. The ones that live obviously down in the areas of like Louisiana and places like that are a lot bigger than the ones we get up here. But that's still going to be the biggest spider. How they used to say back in the day, north of the Mason-Dixon line.
There are 100 species within this just one genus.
You know, when I was living at my other house, I actually had one of our friends that was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you keep venomous well, I said insects, but they're talking about my spiders in the house where your kids are." I'm like, "Well, you know, mine are in containers right now. Yours are just loose." Right? Everybody has venomous insects and spiders roaming their home. It's not
right. I had 7 hornets today that I basically had to deal with in my house.
You better not have been cruel to them.
Hornets?
Kill them? Yeah.
I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, I know what you did. We know what you did.
So the pesticide people told us they live in the walls all winter and they don't know which way to go. Half of them come into your house and half go outside. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And you have a choice, be like, hey, you run the wrong way and get a net or a cup or something, scoop them up, take them outside, or you can be an asshole and kill them.
Yeah, well.
Right? I mean, that's... I'm just fucking with you. It's okay. Protect yourself, especially if you are worried you're going to have an allergic reaction. Sometimes it's not easy or safe for a person to remove a spider or wasp.
I had a hobby farm. And I would never wear shoes. And the bottom of my feet are like calloused, like sandals, right? So I was running around constantly. And one summer, 3 times in 1 week, I stepped on a bee. Like one of these, a bee or a ground wasp, and got this sting in my foot, and it travels up your leg and it cramps your entire leg and you feel like you're going to die. And so from then on I wore shoes, but I was like, I loved going barefoot, but then God damn it, 3 times in 1 week I got stung.
I think it's like when bees are like roaming out for pollen, or nectar. And then you can step on the bee right when it's on the flower, basically. Yeah.
I think I killed you live, Chad. I'm sorry with all the bug and spider stuff, but
no.
Well, I've been watching. I think we're going to shoot her in the head anyway. I want to go out and watch a thunderstorm, but stick around backstage, guys. So
okay.
Well, I think I will go soon too. Like I need to do all the stuff as well. So
okay.
Go ahead. Let's go ahead and wrap it up right now then.
Okay, so we're going to end this. Goodbye.